Just so you know. Just so that way you know I'm live streaming.
What's that?
I'm live streaming, so you know.
What do you tell me?
I'm live streaming, so that way you know. That way if I'm talking, I'm not just talking to myself.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Your live stream.
Yep. And that's a surprise is actually working.
You're getting a good enough reception?
Mm-hmm. Oh, face real quick. Give me just a second to fix the screen. Hey, Kayla. And hey, Ethan. Right on time. Okay, so I'm trying to make myself not look on this. So atrocious. But anyway, so we're going to be talking about the Orchid and going over pretty much everything there is to know about the lovely Orchid. And this was pretty much the only Orchid that actually looked the most suitable to get because the other ones looked like they were kicking the bucket. So, first and foremost, does anybody have any idea what you believe the Orchid would be used for? And I'm just letting you take just random guesses at it. So, what planet do you think Orchid is related to? That includes. Okay, that's both close. Yeah, Venus is actually the secondary planet it's related to, and the first planet it's most related to is actually the Moon. It's it's not really Saturnian because a Saturnian plant is actually one that's either toxic and it pretty much is very. How do I put this? It's not really a poisonous plant, and it's not Mars, even though it can be kind of associated with feminine power, but not really in this case. But it's really more of a moon plant because the orchid is actually believed to kind of mimic the shape of a of let's just say the female reproductive system, just based on how. Let's see if we can find one. Just based on how the inward of the plant looks, it's believed to actually look like the reproductive system of a female. So that being said, since the moon is related to the divine mother, like any other mother deity, Orchid's actually mostly closely related to the moon for that reason. Mercury, not really so much because Mercury and well, Mercury doesn't like the moon, but moon sees pretty much everything friendly towards anybody. So that Mercury's not really fond of the moon, so not really that much. However, though, depending on like what color orchids they are, like for this instance, they're white. You can actually see potentially this is going to be more of the most fitting for say like if it's moon, and then color wise is also white, and that's also moon. But also, if you're going to be taking a look at the Vedic, like how the Vedic tradition assigns color, it would actually be moon and Venus. And Venus's color over in the Vedic system is actually white alongside moon. So technically, it could be a moon Venus related planet. And with that in mind, which let's see, which deities do you believe that this plant can be related to? In a way, I kind of already told you which ones would be related to, but this is where you can kind of go a little bit crazy and wild with it. Take a shot at the dark. Yep, there's one. Definitely Diana. Diana. Celine, yep. And oh, I like that one. And Nana. That's a really good one. And Celine's another one. I'm not expecting you guys to name this one, but Chang'e is another one. Chang'e is a Chinese goddess. So you can also say, hmm, funny enough, Hecate can be seen with this. Same thing with Aradia. That's another one. Actually, another two to be technical. There's one more. Actually, never mind. There's more than just one more. There's 3 to 4 more that I'm thinking off the top of my head. Yep. I mean, wow. I didn't even think of that one. Okay, actually, now you actually are having me starting to think of even more. Another one is, um, you're talking about Obelix. Yeah, that's another one. You can say Obelix is one. Yeah. Hmm. There's another one. I think what? How do you say his name? Sriva. I'm just gonna say Sriva. Sriva also might know this one because yielding from Hindu in India, this the Orchid can be related to the goddess Nitya, the eternal one. Because since you're taking the moon and you're putting it to its highest state and its highest potential, that's like the Orchid. It's like that's another one. But there's one more that I'm still also waiting for somebody to say, and I'm kind of surprised that nobody said it yet. Another one is Demeter. Another one's Persephone. Hathor is another one. Isis is another one. There we go. Yep, that was the one I was looking for. So now scooching over to the properties. Now, the Orchid, first and foremost, is primarily been used for essentially protecting and I have not now that one, Kayla, I have never heard of, so I'm not really sure what I can say. But yes, that's another one. But you can also, I mean, technically, you could consider. Oh, what's his name? What is his name? From Japanese mythology, Amateratsu's brother, Tsunogi, the one that's over the moon. Yeah, that's potentially another one. So is what's his name? Um, what's his name? From Hindu mythology. How come I cannot think of his name right now? I'm looking right at him and he's just laughing at me playing his flute. What's his name? What's his name? Begins with a K or a C. What's his name? What's his name? Actually, I made that too. There's two more. What is his name? Krishna? Oh, yeah, that was the other one too. Shiva. And Krishna. Or also another name is Soma. Or there's another one. There's another goddess from. I believe she's from Irish mythology. I think her name's um, Moav, the one that was known to pretty much become very determined and became so intimidating that she just walked into a room and like every man kissed her foot because she was that intimidating. You could also say that one too, but essentially the Orchid, it is believed pretty much only to be used as either for a empowerment for brings a sense of peace in the household. So it does bring a sense of protection to it. But if you're actually going to be using the parts of the plant, depending on what intention you're wanting to use. Because there is a type of orchid that's known to actually use the root called the Jezebel root. And that root is specifically used primarily to either one, pretty much intimidate somebody with in a mixture. Another use of it's actually used to kind of encourage people that pretty much tip for a service, or they do like a commission, or they do anything that when they pay for a service they can choose to donate some more, or they do any kind of extra, they pay extra. That's what that root's also used for. It's pretty much encouraging somebody, but not encouraging someone to be like donating just for the goodness of their heart, but like donating for because they are very more drawn to, how do I put this? It pretty much tells them, why don't you just donate a little bit extra because I did such a good job. Just give me more. It's much easier. Just do it. It's kind of like how licorice root is, but licorice root's a little bit more in the face about it, while this one's more easygoing. This one's just, it's more inviting, if that makes sense. And when you use the root, that's when you use it for more than intimidation factor and then more, um, like pretty much trying to kind of persuade someone to provide more than they normally would be expected of. But now, if you're going to use the flower part, that's when you're actually starting to step in the territory of actually the beauty aspect, the aspect of like trying to empower the self. Does that make sense? And usually, orchid, it's been noted that it's so potent on its own, it really doesn't need to have any other kind of support from other herbs, depending on what the intention is. So if you're trying to use an herbal mixture for empowerment, you would just really just need the flower, and then you just have to really ensure you know what the intention is. But if you're going down with the root, you'll have to actually add some more things to help hone in on that intention. So that's when you probably mix, say, if you're trying to be a little bit more easygoing, you would probably put lavender and jasmine with it. But if you're trying to be a little bit more of a feisty, aggressive way of getting your point across, that's when you put licorice root, calamus root, or even cherry bark. Or if you really want to be extra, a little bit pushy, you would also include, what's that called? Sir Sampson's snake root. You would include that one on top of it too. Or even also rosemary, because rosemary is also a very kind of feisty, pushy plant. It's also, if you're going to be pairing it, like if you're going to just for the giggles of it, if you're trying to add more of a balance with the floral part, you can add geranium, because geranium is actually a plant that's able to kind of balance the heart and also the beauty, making it not too much, not too little, but just right. That's another hidden thing about the geranium. And when you're, and I just remember off the top of my head, and I'm kind of lucky that I'm not going to get hit upset after this one. Orchid's also related to Hestia and the goddess Hestia, and also Hera, funny enough, and I'm surprised I didn't say that one. I'm probably going to get Argus dropped on my head for not even mentioning her. But, let's see, what else? Orchid is probably best to do workings with on, say, like a Monday or Friday. That would be best. And even though, yes, it is, like I said, primarily it can be used for works of intimidation or persuasion or kind of empowerment, it's still best on a Monday or Friday, because on Saturday, if you're going to be using the orchid, it's not going to be as fitting, even though Saturn is a planet that can definitely intimidate. It Orchid is a very feminine focused plant, so putting, you say, like any kind of form of intimidation on Saturday, but it's a feminine plant, it's not really going to connect as well. So pretty much Moon being the queen, and you usually don't tell the queen no because you'll get your head cut off.
You can keep going. Let the car sit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put baking soda.
Okay. Okay. So You guys are probably going to see me completely change my standing, so give me just a minute to relocate. And while I'm relocating, you can ask me any other questions you have so far, like what happens if you add this plant with this, what can be used with this plant, what can't be used, what's suggested, what's not suggested, and whatnot. So I'm just going to relocate right quick, and we can go from there. Mm. Mhm. Okay, so I'm gonna plop you down. You're gonna hear a thud, so you know, thud. Okay, so now down. And just out of curiosity, are you still able to hear the sound of my voice? Because I have these wireless earbuds in. Yeah, but the pedals, essentially, yeah, you would use them as the same thing as you would with rose petals, or any other kind of plant with petals. You would just depedal them like right before they fall over. Oh, perfect, majestic. Okay, so now, okay, so here's what we're gonna do with this. I'm gonna get this plastic thing off. And gingerly pluck this out. If it doesn't come off, I'll just rip it off. Yep, and as you can definitely see with this, the roots are kind of going a little bit above and beyond, and they're not really supposed to go that way. Okay, hold still, cupcake. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is have them just sit like that. I'm gonna fill this cup up with water. And I'm gonna have this flip towards my direction. All right. So what I'm gonna do is now find place to plop you. Okay, computer, you're gonna be my nightstand. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we have. Okay, I don't know what the heck that was all about, but I'm gonna hope to Atlanta doesn't do it again. Hold on. Take a look at one. Okay. So with the orchid, now with water, I'm gonna throw some stones in there. So without further ado, not literally, putting stones in there, depending on like what infused in it. Primarily would be best to put in, say, your quartz, like aventurine. This is actually kind of funny. And I really hope, people, I really hope, hopefully that fixed it, because if it keeps doing this at the table, no. But anyway, so this is what that's the thing that I carry my stones in. Yeah, this is my new stone sack. And if you want to know what that is, go take a look for yourself and see what it is. it gets the job done, so don't look at me like that. So now, to put stones in there, again, depending on what your intention is, will all have it boil down to whatever you're deeming fit to use. But again, you got to use stones that are water safe and they're not going to cause any damage to either the plant and obviously not kill it, integrate and cause the poor plant to be stabbed to death. Like I would not put, definitely would not put selenite in there. That's a I wouldn't put any of the calcites in there. But I would say, for an example, I'm pretty much going to use this for the kind of the, how am I going to put this? Pretty much for the empowerment aspect, but also the root. So in that regard, it'd be best to use something per se. I'm just taking a look at all that I have before I make a final sound decision. That'll probably be a good idea. Not that one. There we go. Okay, let go of my thank you. So what I'm going to plop in here, let's see here. I'm going to plop in there if I can grip these bloody things. I'm going to put in 2 snow quartz in the water. Also going to put in there if I can grip it. That sounds so bad, but go with it. I'm going to put in my kunzite shards and also some pieces of rose quartz. Yeah, the ones that were in my Heinzith before. Yeah, they're going to go. And this master quartz. Because I don't want to, I definitely do not want to overdo what's in there. I'll just add another master quartz, a rosy quartz, and do I happen to have? And I don't know why it keeps going in, out, out, in, out of the entire. But anyway, I was going to plop in a green aventurine. Green aventurine is a stone that actually helps things adventure to grow. Let's put it. I'm not going to put the hematite in there. I'm not going to put the star garden in there. Might put that in there. Don't need to put any more of that one. I already have enough rosies in there. Not going to put my honker kunzi in there. I already have enough rosies. Don't need that. Don't need that. So pretty much I have, well, except that one. I'm going to plop in there. Pretty much, other than this one stone I'm going to put in there, which is an amethyst. I pretty much have everything from hanky, panky, and spanky, and all of them that I want in there. So I'm going to pop the amethyst in. Having a bit of a funny splash noise. And then we'll just put it in like so. If it won't be thinking it's in Hawaii and doing a hula hula. So now the technical parts about this. When you're watering orchid, some people say to put ice cubes on top of it. Don't do that. That's a no. Don't do that. But why though? Everybody else is doing it. Well, that may be true, but the thing is, when you put ice cubes on it and it's touching the root, you're shocking the root. You're making the root go. and you're hurting it. It's always best to actually take your, if you're going to be watering it, to actually lift the plastic bowl out of it, add your water, and then, because down at the bottom of it, there's a little hole where the roots are reaching out of. But if you actually really want to get the roots that are like up here moistened or wet, you would actually be taking like a hose or a faucet, and what you're going to do is actually gingerly get them wet, but not getting like right in here, like where the leaves are. You don't want to get water in there because you'll get them infected. Or even another thing you can do, you can actually take like a, see, like a squirt bottle, but very gingerly squirt the roots to hydrate them, so that way they don't go fall over. So essentially, really, that's it. And funny enough, too, the orris root is actually the orchid. Orris root is orris root is the orchid root. That was a bit of a tongue twister. So I'm going to put this down easily, gingerly. Down you go. Don't wrong. No. So there we go. And orchids are actually a very easy plant to take care of. I even think they're even easier to take care of than hyacinth, but that's just me. And pretty much, really, that's really all that I can think of. But it's also said when I don't even know if I can because I don't have Wi-Fi on my computer at this moment. But I'm gonna take a look real quick. So if I disappear again, I'm coming back. Have faith. Yeah, you just gotta find like if it's in the soil, you pretty much have to put this. I would even put it like where they're coming out of the ground. I would just take like like the stone, like for example, if you're gonna put like a rose quartz piece, I would actually put it like right as close to the plant as possible, like even like down on the leaf, like where it splits open. Just take your rose quartz and just plop it like right in there. Not like stab it through, but just like have it be there and it just sits and relaxes. So that way it's still touching the plant that's pulling it in. But if you want to be extra technical, you can actually put this like right in the soil or like right next to the root where it's coming out. That way, when the water hits it, it's gonna hit the rose quartz and it's gonna hit the plant, and then it's gonna pull all that in. It also says place in a bright light, direct sunlight. Okay. Yeah, judging by this, it's underwatered, so I'm gonna need to add water to it. But other than that, I'm gonna take a look at something right quick. Hopefully, I'm not gonna disappear. I hope. Um, okay, and then this is coming from the Art of the Root, which is known to be a magical oil making company that's known to making potent oils. But essentially, it says this, according to Art of the Root. That, whoops. Okay, I was in the right spot. There is nothing more magnetic than Orchid, and his magical properties have been long revered for love less than potency. Both Greeks and Romans believed Orchid could stimulate the male fertility and was widely used in love matters. European witches used orchids in the love philters and the famous New Orleans Jezebel root. A member of the orchid family was sought by, I don't even like saying the word, to help them attract wealthy customers. Using orchids in love magic is not only effective, it's also exceptionally potent. Orchids are one of the few botanicals that can stand on its own. In other words, you don't need to add any additional ingredients to enhance it. But say if you really want to go from like it's already potent on its own, if you want to kick it up a honker amount, just throw some saffron with it. Saffron is known to take a love spell mixture and quadruple its strength. So yeah, potent orchid plus saffron equals, okay, we're going from beating a dead horse to like literally making it turn into dust. Potent. It says, resuming in the scriptures. There we go. It says, in love matters, the best part of the orchid to work with is its root. This will need to be grounded down to a powder. You can also simply get select powder. In its essence, the root of a type of orchid is rarely used in traditional Eastern medicine and is main ingredient in Turkish salep, a much enjoyed water drink that is fairly easy to come by. You can, of course, get an orchid plant and dig up its root, or use that. The best method is simply acquire an orchid flower bulbs from a local online garden store. Sprinkle this on personal items of your desired love interest or even a poppin. Dab some in the heel of your shoe or sprinkle some under your mattress. Create a sachet and place it in your lingerie drawer. Okay. Use it to work with photographs. Get a photo of yourself and a photo in, of the of the interested. Dust the photograph with a bit of the powder and face them flat on the table. The photo of your love interest should be facing up, and yours should be on top facing down. Light a big candle, dusted with a touch of cinnamon, and placed directly over the photographs. And light the candle and let it burn all the way down while stating intentions. So it is quite the plant, and even then too. I mean, to be really technical, if you want to make it, if you want to, like the white one, the white orchid, I would say, could be used in any kind of circumstance because white pretty much does whatever you tell it to. White's that color that's like, I'll do anything. Want me to be aggressive? Okay, I'll be aggressive. You want me to calm things down? Okay, I'll calm things down. You want me to woozy woo someone? I'll woozy woo someone. You want me to uplift something? I'll uplift something. You want me to heal something? I'll heal something. White can pretty much do anything, even curse. Like even in this circumstance, you probably want to mix that with like say licorice root and calamus root to like intimidate somebody. Yeah, that'll probably be the mixture for that. But like say if you have white with purple spots on it, that would be when you would use that with like say like feminine empowerment or self empowerment because you have white for anything and then the purple dots on it to kind of show like empowerment within certain aspects. So there, like say there's if you cut off one orchid flower and it only has like 3 spots on it on each flower, each one of those can represent like body, mind, spirit. That's another way. But say if you have like a black one, well, a black one, a lot of people would think that's bad, but no, because with a black orchid, you now having the darker aspects on top of it. So the color black, funny enough, is actually a color that's tied to say if you have a black orchid, you can use that for protection. You can use that one for essentially your building up your intuition because black is the color that you actually need to be able to see with your eyes. It can be used in baneful workings, like say for an example, if your target is somebody who is somebody who's an egotistical twathead and she just thinks she's all that and she's not, you can actually use a black orchid to cripple it. But now, well, if you have like a royal purple orchid, then that would be more empowerment focused and pretty much used for domin kind of dominating in that way. But now when it becomes black, now when it's black, it's more of the domination that is like pretty much being forced onto someone. The purple one shows that you have to be respected, if that makes sense. Purple, because purple is a mixture of red and blue coloring, and blue is more of a curing, it's more of a healing kind of a color, and red is more of the power. So pretty much what it's doing is you're healing a situation by showing how powerful you are. So it brings on those 2 colors. But now black, since black is essentially a void and it's primarily can be seen as an intimidating color, using black for domination or those darker workings fits because you're intimidating something to to pretty much respect you, and if it doesn't, it's going to get whacked. while the purple is like, I'm your authority, you need to respect me and have some decency towards me because I'm the one in power. Black is more like, I don't care, you're out of line and I don't like that. Or better yet, I want you just to be a little puppy on a leash because why not? That makes sense. If you have an orange one, that one's going to be more of the obstacle remover. Yellow orchid, of course, that one's going to be more cheery, happy, and inspiring others. Inspiring the same effects of an orchid to be more happy-go-lucky and uplifting. Green, financial, of course, but also used for, say, like trying to attract those that are pretty much financially stable. Yeah, I was just saying the green one too. Um, what else is there? The red one obviously is, of course, the one that's more the seducey, woozy one. A brown one, I haven't seen a brown one, so I got nothing with that one. But there is one called the vampire orchid, which is black. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of it because I did remember pulling it up one day. See if I can find it. I like how I mentioned it, and right when I put in the word vampire, it pops up. Okay, so this is what a vampire orchid looks like 3,000 years later. Loading. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Yeah, it is a vampire orchid. Kind of looks like a black little spider orchid. Yep. hmm So with that one, you can kind of actually use that. Yep. And that kind of orchid is essentially redoing any kind of vampiric work, or hey, if you're going to bring Lilith into this, which that's probably an offering that she would probably go woozy fandom about. Yeah, but yeah, Vampire Orchid, I mean, I haven't seen the ways to actually grow it, but it's really potent. Just by looking at it, it's like, okay, that one could really suck the life out of someone. And specifically when you're using any kind of plant, like for example, anything that has roots, like kinds of even orchid, or anything that you can actually get to the roots, what you can do is like take an image of a person or or even a puppet of a person that you don't mind getting wet, and preferably not made out of Play-Doh. Pretty much what you can do is you take the plant out, and then the roots are down below. You take the poppet, put it underneath, and then you put the plant on top of it, and the roots get a hold of the poppet, and then it just starts sucking the life out of it. So that person's essence and their energy gets sucked out of them and gets put into the plant. So say if there's somebody who's giving you a hard time, you want them to get weaker, but also you want to feed your orchid or plant, whatever, pop them in there, put the plant back on top. The plant's going to get a hold of it, grab a hold, and then start sucking the life out of it. Because the roots, it pulls in the water and it pulls down anything that the water has and it pulls it into itself. That makes sense. So primarily the best example is with hindsight. Because with those forcing bulbs like this one, because with this, because this is where for, the forcing bulb hyacinths come out of. When you have the water and then you have all the roots and then you have the bulb and then you have the stalks coming out with all the pretty flowers and all that, you're putting a poppet of someone in there. Then the roots are going to go all over the poppet. So as this thing grows, this person's life essence is going to be yoinked out of it and essentially going to be feeding the plant. So at the same time, those same flowers that come out of it and the plant is actually now going to become a personal concern of said person. So now you can use all the parts of this plant to actually be as a personal concern because it's sucking their essence into it. The more you know. And that's sometimes how you have to really think about going about it in that way. And really, other than that, that's pretty much what I got with the work grid. I'm gonna be going live again in like about another few minutes because I have to do reads for Gemini and Cancer. So I'm gonna get them over and done with once I take a breather. But other than that, that's pretty much the Orchid. Are there any other questions that anybody has with the Orchid? Like, for example, hmm, like any other questions? I'll give it like about another few minutes. Dang it! Although I can go back down and get that later. Any other questions regarding the Orchid? Any other questions regarding Orchid? Nay, or woohoo? Well, and probably say like another 12 minutes. I'll probably come back live, and that's when I'll start reading Gemini and Cancer. So, I mean, yes, definitely. For mixing with Orchid, it just depends on the intention. If you're wanting to make it more of a empowerment feminine one, you would mix primarily, I would say, geranium, rose, jasmine, neroli, magnolia. But now, say if you want to actually make a mixture that is actually used to deceive somebody with beauty, now this one, gotta be careful with this mixture. Be careful with this one. But in this regard, you wouldn't actually be burning or actually using them. Instead, what you would do is actually do it this way. And like I said, make sure you wear gloves when you're doing this. You would take the orchid flower, and then you would take oleander flower. But now here again, listen. The way that this works, you put the orchid out in front of like say for example, if you were trying to make yourself be more appealing, but also at the same time you don't want people to mess with you. You would then put the um, oleander out front because it's still because the oleander flowers are very small. Then you would take the orchid flower and then you would put that behind it, and then you would take an image of yourself. So that way, that image of yourself has flowers surrounding it, so it's pretty. But when someone gets too close, like they're trying to get really close to you to cause you harm, that oleander flower will poison, will kind of give them a shock value, like, hey, don't mess with me. So that's kind of like a protection, but also beautifying work. So it's making yourself be more beautiful and attract stuff to you. But if someone has negative intentions, the oleander is going to come in and just slap them on the wrist, just as an idea. Other than that, I'm going to take a pause and have my mouth rest, and then I will be doing Gemini and Cancer reading. And from there, we'll see what happens. And Gemini and Cancer are going to be in one take, like one live stream, because if I do separate live streams, get pretty annoying going, okay, next, next, next. No, I'm going to keep it simple. One full one, and then further reads afterwards. So I'll be back in like 19 minutes. So get yourself some popcorn, get yourself some whatever you're deeming fit, and I'll see you on that one short.